Right, at this time, it is 4:04.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Snowden. Present. Director Noah.
Here.
Director Odell. Not present for roll call. Director Lockett.
Here.
Director Dr. Buford. Here. Director Dr. Robinson. Present. Director Leggett. Not present for roll call. Director Taylor.
Here.
And Chairman Cody.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum of in-person quorum for today's meeting. Thank you.
Approval of today's agenda.
So moved.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. On the consent items, if we want to pull one out, should we notify someone prior to the meeting or? Okay, I just want to know what y'all, how y'all normally operate.
We can pull it after we put that.
Okay. Right.
Director Snowden.
Yes.
Director Noah.
Yes.
Director Odell. Not present for the vote. Director Taylor.
Yes.
Director Dr. Buford. Director Dr. Robinson.
Yes.
Director Leggett. Not present for the vote. Director Taylor. And Chairman Cody.
Yeah.
Chairman, motion passed to approve today's agenda.
Thank you. Next, we have our presentations. We're going to, plan review and proposed updates.
I wore my heels today. We're gonna give us one moment to get. So just before we begin, I'll just let you all know, this is just a presentation. You don't need to take any action on this item. Yeah, so, for the record, Mary Moskowitz, Chief of Planning and Infrastructure Development for South Marion. We're going to do a presentation on the FY 2026-2029 Transit Access Management Plan Update. The Q plan outlines how PAT aligns asset management practices with agency goals and federal requirements, ensuring accountability, transparency, and effective communication with both internal and external stakeholders. As part of the moving ahead of progress in the 21st century of MAP 21 and subsequently following the Fixing America's Service Infrastructure FAST Act, the FTA has enacted regulations and PAMs that require transit service providers to establish access management performance measures, targets, and to develop a PN plan. As required by the Department of Secretary, the final CAM rules were published on July 26, 2016, and went into effect on October 1st, 2015. The rule itself was amended into the U.S. Code of Federal Regulations, Title 49, of 625, 630, which relate to the PAM International Database. So that's a lot of fancy word for me saying the federal government is requiring that to do it. It is also required to be updated every 4 years. So what is the objectives? Why are we doing this? We have the PAM plan. It's to improve safety, increase reliability and performance, establish performance measures, and achieve and maintain a state of good repair of the public transportation asset. A brief history of the CAM plan for TAP. In 2018, TAP adopted its first transit asset management plan on August 28, 2018, and that covered fiscal year 2018 through fiscal year 2021. The plan was then updated in 2022. It was approved by the board on June 28, 2022, and covered the fiscal years FY22 through FY25. That is coming to a close on June 30th of this year. I have the presentation up and my clicker is not working. So we always like to be on our feet here. So I'll let you know that there are two tiers on the TAM for providers. There's the tier 1 provider. And those are operators that own and operate 101 or more vehicles during revenue service and during the fixed route. Or tier 2, which operates 100 or less vehicles. That also includes the rural areas and the American Indian tribes. TAP is considered a tier 2 provider because we only operate 32 vehicles during peak revenue hour. However, we have opted to include all of the requirements into our CAM plan. That includes the requirements for the inventory of our capital assets, our condition assessments, our decision support tools, investment prioritizations, but also the CAM and state of good repair policy. Awesome, thank you. The implementation strategy, the list of key annual events, the identification of resource, and our evaluation plan.
Number 6, the implementation strategy. What would that be?
So that is something similar to your capital improvement plan. So how we are actually implementing the improvements. So to your point, what are those activities and how are they put together? So we have the allocation of resources, that is through the state of repair measures, and that is the responsibility of asset management under the direction of operation. Again, with the inventory itself, that is found in the state of good repair targets, and that is done again through the asset management under operation. The capital conditions assessment, that is the prioritization, and that is done with planning in conjunction with the asset management and operating. We do have monthly monitoring, and that's through the CAM meetings, and that is the CAM committee. The members of the CAM committee are the finance, operations, planning, and safety. And we also review and analyze the annual plan, and that's your annual inventory and annual condition, again, performed by the CAM committee. These reports are then uploaded into the National Transit Database. So the inventory is the number of different types of capital assets that include all of our capital assets owned by the agency, except for the non-service vehicle equipment with the acquisition value of under $50,000. So as tier 2 providers, we must report on the state of good repair for the following. So our rolling stock, and that includes percentage of vehicles that have either met or exceeded their useful life benchmark. And the useful life benchmark is established by regulations by the FTA, and it depends on the type of vehicle. So we have different types of vehicle classes. We have our buses, which are used on our fixed route, our cutaway vehicles, which can be used both on our paratransit and fixed route, and then our vans, which are run on our fixed route service. We also have our non-equipment, which that includes our non-revenue vehicles, such as the vehicles like your supervisor vehicles, those types of things, and then also all of our maintenance equipment. And so again, that metric, that the way that those are measured is under the useful life index. And then finally, we have an inventory of our facilities, and we break that down into our own administrative and maintenance facilities, and then our passenger and parking facility. Now, this is based on a measure called the term scale, which is the transit economic requirement model. and that is a value, we put, the life of the building, the value of the building, the value of the land, and we get a rating of the, value of that, model. So all of that is what we're in process, what we're doing right now as part of the annual inventory. So once the inventory is complete, we will develop the targets of what percentage do we want to be in that state of good repair. And again, we're looking at keeping in mind we want to improve safety, have consistent performance, have better decision making, and the lower longer term costs for our asset preservation. So what are our next steps? So at either your next meeting or your June meeting, you will actually see the copy of the CAM plan with the updates. It's a red line version that will pop out and will include the inventory itself. And then once that is approved by the board, we will submit that to the FDA, and then it's also shared with the core NPO and the Georgia Department of Transportation.
I got a question about the next step. Okay, well, we'll see it before May. You said it's we'll see it and approve it at the same time, or we'll give an advance copy?
Well, you'll get it as part of your agenda packet. It will be included with that.
But we won't see it until it's time for us to approve it.
As part of your, I mean, we can send you a copy, but you'll see it prior to approving it, yeah.
You said we would or would not?
You would see it as part of your agenda package prior to the approval.
My question was before the agenda packet, will we see it? That's what my question was. Prior to the agenda packet, will we see it?
I will try my best to get it as soon as possible.
We can get it out in May and approve it, we'll be able to meet the deadline.
Yes, we could do that, because our June meeting is before the 30th, yeah. As long as it's before June 30th.
Okay.
And has the MPO been involved up to this point or not?
So the MPO, we represent them at the
Right.
meetings, and we're in constant communication with them, so, yes.
Thank you.
So giving to us and voting on it in June, will it delay getting to the MPO?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, we'll still be within our deadlines.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we got, service changes tonight.
Let's me again. So I will let you all know on this one, this is an item that is on your consent agenda, so you will be, voting on the, part of the consent agenda. So, review the July 2025 service payment. This presentation outlines the proposed. Well, there we go. This presentation outlines the proposed changes to the route alignment and schedules for July 2025. These updates have been designed to improve efficiency and access. So the first change is the proposed alignment change to Route 11. This proposal is to reroute Route 11, a portion of that from Abercorn Street to Haversham. And the reason for this is to improve safety and maintain reliability. We were asked to review this as part of a safety concern, but we also fear that this will actually be more efficient and will provide additional opportunities for riders along Haversham Street. We did have a public hearing at the Delaware Center on April 8th to review this for the general public. We also met with the residents at the Rose of Sharon on April 9th because it will impact them most directly. There is a stop. So the pink line here shows the existing route and the orange line is the proposed route. So right now well, 11 deviates, on Taylor Avenue to Fry Service to, Rosa Sharon. So instead of picking up on Taylor, it will now pick up on Habersham. And so we wanted to notify the residents of that proposed change. The general feedback was good and they liked the additional opportunities to, have on Habersham Street. We, have determined, the plan, is a less than 25% deviation, so it does not require a Title VI analysis. However, staff has determined that it complies with Title VI because it maintains and actually even improves access along the border, and does not negatively impact the community. So I'll pause for any questions on.
One question. Who recommended the change?
So the change came from the operators because of the safety concern, but they just were concerned about the crossing on the railroad track. Planning staff said, well, maybe we could facilitate this, instead of just moving it, the crossing, we'll just move it all on Habersham to add additional access to the entire street. So I'll go with Dr. Robinson and then we'll go.
Now, my concern is not about the railroad track, because we've had this before with the Rosa Sharon. See, this ain't the first time you guys presented this to us. And our concern was about the wheelchair people having to go across the street. I can understand the railroad on 40, because it's not, I don't think many people go to that stop. But that Rosa Sharon stop is still a concern for me, that have those folks have to cross over. And the
Yes.
stop is right at the door.
So we did look at, so we could on the, so that would be on the inbound side coming back, because it is a square. We could still provide the access on Taylor Street. So on the inbound side, they can just go around the square and come back. So they won't have to cross the street. I understand that, yes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is to bring it to us again like this, when we already discussed the concern about that, old folks residency, we're still trying to cut them off. Well, why are we still doing that?
So we can still have the access, so they don't have to cross the street on, we can still provide the entrance on Taylor. But for the inbound, they won't have to cross the street.
So we're gonna change this?
So this would be it would just be a deviation on the block there. So it wouldn't impact, so yeah, we can do that.
I guess I'm just a little bit conflicted in that we keep doing this. And we got citizens that need to be thought about and accommodated.
Yeah, so the steps that we're taking, so we have the pattern. We need to evaluate the stops with the city. And so we will make sure that the stops are safe and that we provide access to all of these stops. But the first step we have to do is, for the planning purposes, we have to have the pattern, and so we can start doing that analysis.
So she triggered something that I didn't have before. So you're saying you will still accommodate in front of the Rosa Sharon, you'll just have to loop back around? So the stop is staying wherever, am I correct?
We can keep yes, so, yeah.
The front door stop will still be
yeah.
there, but they'll make another loop to continue their,
But that report wasn't saying that.
no, I know that's what I'm confirming what I heard.
Yes.
You're just gonna call them, right?
Yeah, I'm hearing that, and we are evaluating, that's why we're meeting with you all, so that is a concern, that is something that we can accommodate.
And the last, the question I had, the poorly placed stop sign, have we notified anybody about this so that, I mean, if we know a safety concern, whether it be for our cat riders and the operators, also for the general public, can we notify them of that
So, yeah,
issue?
so-
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, so we are working with the city and are meeting with their engineering department.
Okay, thank you.
but, yes.
And they stop on the Abercrombie 40, right there at the track, the little track.
Right.
And there's not, I don't think many people get on the bus at that particular
So
stop.
that stop has very low revenue.
Okay. Thank you.
Was there another question?
Yes, yes, that'd be set, is that a date, if I'm going to put it into effect?
So, yes, so, as part of the service change, these would all go into effect on July 7, I believe, is the date.
That's my question.
Chairman, I have a question from the audience. Thanks, sorry. And would like you to take that?
Yes.
Okay.
To address Dr. Robinson, we have a schedule, and the union proposed going down Caversham Street because, of the safety of 40th on the railroad track, and that Caversham is not fitting. The levy does not get a lot of ridership, so that will bring more ridership and safety to the passenger and, the bus. Also, when she pulls up at the Rosa Sharon, where the ramp is, when you're coming off Jones, it will service on the side right there. So they will get on the safety, and that's going outbound. Inbound, when they come back in, they'll just come around the square right in front of the Rosa Sharon and proceed downtown. So both sides are right there that are accommodating them.
Clerk.
So the next, changes are schedule changes. So the first one is on the 28th. We are going to increase the, frequency on the weekdays. So it will go from 1 hour frequency to 2 hour frequency, excuse me, backwards, 2 hour frequency to 1 hour frequency. This is consistent with our transit development plan because we have the 27 on Waters. Now we will have half hour frequency on Waters Avenue. So this is something that we have been working towards since the transit development plan was adopted. So this is the next step in implementing that. The other change is a minor schedule change on the Route 14. So now the Saturday schedule on the Route 14 will mirror the weekday schedule as far as when it is leaving. It still leaves the inbound trips, the outbound trips that leave the ITC, they still would leave on the half hour, so 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. But the inbound trips coming in from Walmart, there's going to be a slight change. Right now they leave on the 2s, so it's 7:02, 7:32, 8:02. Now they will leave on the 16, 7:16, 7:46, 8:16, 8:46. And that's the way the weekday schedule is done as well. So it will be consistency with the weekday schedule and the Saturday schedule. For the platform.
And how many buses are we running?
Right now, we run 4 buses on the 14th. This will require us on Saturday to have 5 buses run on that. Any questions, other questions on the schedule itself? So just so you, let's don't get any questions. After this meeting, we will have, the public meeting. So we have tentatively scheduled a public information session at the ITC on May 6th, and that one's to host an evening meeting. And then staff will also go out in the morning and physically walk the platform to distribute information as well. We will also put notices on any impacted stops. So if there's a stop that's going to change on Route 11, we will put that notice that this stop will no longer service Route 11 on this day, and you will need to go to this location.
So that meeting on May 6th will be in the old boardroom.
Yes. Any other questions? So this is an item that's on the consent agenda. So if there's
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we have, here from our ETE, work on the 13th for leadership update.
Chairman, that the union right now, opt out of the presentation. And then the appointment with his management, how functioning, how the company is functioning at the time, so we opt out of doing it.
Thank you. Now we'd like to go into our consent items.
At this point, we can pull an item. But I would like to pull, the one about the 4.5. Because I want to be sure we're all clear on what's actually gonna happen with these 17. Four, I think it's 4.5, the one about the, changes, route changes. No, for that, we're gonna show resolution.
Chairman. I apologize, I was trying to get some information. Did we move on to the consent agenda?
Yes.
Can I please ask a question about a previous, under the presentations? If I would like further information, what would be the appropriate time on the, ATU comment that was made?
We don't have anything on the agenda.
You can ask it on the new business
Okay,
at the end.
Put it on the new business.
I mean, what's the appropriate, I guess I'm asking, when is the appropriate time to ask the question?
So I don't see anything on the consent agenda relevant for that, so I think at the very end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Cause he can't ask the question for her presentation, right?
I mean, he could ask, but
I'm just asking
We
when it's
answer it.
appropriate.
In the business, at the bottom,
I think for efficiency, it's probably better. to do
Okay,
that.
at the bottom.
thank you.
But it's really more form or efficiency, not a rule.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, and I apologize.
Beverly.
What is the mean?
Something potential, that means all items under consent. Do you want a motion to the effect?
What,
wait, what?
what, yeah, I have the question.
Okay, we're pulling an item that we just received a report on. And I guess a question and a comment, because on the consent item, these are items that we have talked about and we should, have information on, or we do have information on prior to this meeting. So if we're gonna pull consent items, I would like to request, if we don't do it this time, I would like to request that we pull consent items before the meeting.
And I did ask that
I
question.
know you did ask
Yes.
that, and I answered, and it was in my place to say, yes, that was my answer. So I am requesting that from this point forward, consent items be pulled before the meeting, not during this time, because it's information that we have discussed and talked about. And we're pulling an item that we just received a report on, where, I mean, maybe not every question was answered, obviously not every question was answered, because we have more questions. But then you didn't answer the questions while she was up giving the report. And I just want to make that a part of it.
And what's clear is that any board member can pull a consent item without it being contested. That's just proper. rules.
I'm not contesting.
That's just proper rules of order. So, 4.5 was requested pulled by me, and I stand by that.
And am I next?
Mhm.
And my question was, if we have a simple question that can be a yes or a no answer, I would think we'd be able to answer that and leave it on the consent agenda. Is that appropriate?
Yes.
Okay, and then I'd like to ask under 4.2, it talks about and 4.3, the grant application submission deadline of April 7th. Were those dates met?
Yes.
Okay. And the last question is, and this may be a little bit, need to be pulled, but under 4.4, when it describes the useful life and then what our mileage and what our life is, how many vehicles do we have that are double the mileage out there of useful life?
We would have to bring that back.
Okay, thank you. That's, and it's not something that had to be answered. I don't want to pull anything.
Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Noah,
Yes.
Director Odell. You can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, we are recommending. We are storing buses and working with and electrically and the refurbishment process. It's much harder than build a bus. The money has been allocated as a unified further financial impact. And we ask the village to approve issue of a contract award to retire.
We take out there. Is for citizens. We are in. We have.
Or 551. Make that correct, I know.
Thank you.
Question, comment? Bill, we gonna do one.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Noah,
Yes,
Director Odell,
Yes,
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Dr. Buford. Yes. Director Dr. Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Coker.
Yes.
Chairman motion to approve item 4.2.
Moving to item 23, we never get a motion. Before we go into discussion. For the full ratification of November 2024 proposal insurance to include.
why are we ratifying?
I'm sorry, done.
But why didn't we do it when we did it?
Yeah, we did.
You know, it has always been the goal since I've been interim to bring back anything that was not brought before the board. This has been something that I have been doing, and as we were going through the revealing action items, it was brought to the attention that there was no documentation, even though there had been numerous conversations regarding software for paratransit. We could not find where it was brought before the board. The RFP process did go out on November 1st, 2024. If you recall, on last month, there was a commitment to bring forward the procurement. I am sure the board is very familiar with the software and the needs for the software so that paratransit operations can run efficiently. We can communicate better with passengers. It is brought toward the board. I cannot bring it toward the board without a ratification because there was a misstep in the process prior to the RFP being released. That's the purpose of the ratification. Now, in this matter, the board has a choice. They can not approve the ratification, not approve the contract award, or they can approve the ratification and approve the contract award to not delay this procurement, this very needed procurement any further. We will utilize this time for the board.
Right.
Yeah, she pretty good.
Make a motion.
Thank you. Okay. Roll call. No, so we can start discussing. So is Dr. Manny answering? Who's gonna ask the questions about the software?
I would like to address the
Okay,
and staff. If need.
so this is we have a lot of problems with. So I'm very curious to know, based on the recommendation, what the experience that provider has with transit. How much experience do they have with their customer service with related to the customer? And what's their rating? How do the other agencies feel about it? And is this software that y'all feel so strong about that you're willing to say it's gonna repair the problems that we have?
The scope for this project was a very detailed and diligent effort. The team, the entire team that works with paratransit operations were brought into a session. I sat in on that session, and I called that session simply to ensure that all parties were a part of the specs in an effort to procure the software that was needed to support paratransit operations effectively. That meeting resulted in consensus of all parties are there. All vendors were invited in to present on their product. The proposals were evaluated. All proposers met specification. Every last proposer met specification. In the action item, it gives the experience with transit agencies that the recommended vendor has worked with. This was an unbudgeted item. This software, because of the need for enhancements to paratransit service delivery, this will be paid for out of CAT's general fund. It was made priority as we committed to the county to make a better effort in service delivery. The software will allow us to communicate with the passengers, how far away we are from picking them up, returning on return trip and pickup, and it met all of the specifications.
And we did live demos.
Yes.
Now,
Now,
not every, from what I understand,
not every vendor, and Dr. Manning, correct me if I'm wrong. Every vendor did not make a presentation, and Dr. Manning can fill you in on that. But that was extended. The recommended vendor, there were some questions that the staff wanted to be ensured, so we provided an opportunity for them, a Q&A with the recommended vendor, and Dr. Manny, the COO, sat in on that call, as well as the leadership of Heritage.
So are you saying there was no live demo?
Was there a live demo with this particular vendor?
Not all of them, but.
No.
This particular vendor.
The one that you chose, you did a live demo with that.
Well, we did a live demo with me and my staff, but I wasn't, which I called the engine or something. Be on that phone, so.
With this vendor.
We did it.
And how did the live demo go?
It was, part of the staff, they recommended, based on, questions that were asked during the presentation. But then again, procurement, identified with all aspects that was sent out in the. And we didn't have all the vendors we were given, so there were 2 or 3 that we didn't even know what it was said.
But why would you evaluate software with no live demo?
This very one did a live demo.
But did you schedule live demos with the others?
That would be a procurement question, but we didn't come. I think kind of about 3 of them that we didn't know.
So
Let me say this. Prior to the procurement process even beginning, there were live demos. Once the procurement process began, all vendors were invited in to do a live demo. I sat in on maybe 1 or 2, but had to leave. But it was up to procurement and the COO for anything thereafter. Within any procurement, you're gonna have differences of opinion. There was an evaluation where you had 3 people that evaluated the proposals according to spec. The recommended vendor came out number 1.
the 3 people
based
that
on
were,
qualification.
the 3 people that were evaluated, Were they a part of the live demo?
Were they a part of the
No, they
live
weren't.
demo?
The one, we never seen anything, any demonstration of this item, but the pair of them, I think,
I have a question. The company that I brought to you in documented attention, is that one of the companies that had a live demo?
which shows them the same.
Excuse me.
Which vendor was that, Director?
That, I don't really remember the name of the vendor, that you and Dr. Manning was sitting upstairs, and I just came back from West Palm Beach. And I told you all about the system where, you know, when the vehicle rolls up, you call it first automatically. And there was supposed to be a follow-up to Orlando, to West Palm Beach, to see what the name of that company was.
Dr. Manning, do you know the name of that?
The number that we call them.
Okay, and they did submit a proposal.
Excuse me.
They did submit a proposal.
Did they do live demo?
Yes, they did, and we and this guy also my point.
And that company was not chosen, correct?
That's correct.
So how many live demos did you do? Two?
Two that I participated was one with me and this guy, then the architect. For the equal lane, do the demo, and also I think when I first did a demo.
Did you request a demo from the 5 people that applied and they denied?
I have no idea, that would be a great question.
Yeah, what question?
You
Okay.
know.
I don't understand why, as a part of the evaluation process, we didn't do live demos with each of the people that applied. It's software.
Ms. Johnson, could you get the procurement manager to come down and respond to those questions, please?
But some of what is currently being done, but this is how I ask the question. What the question is, this is a ratification,
It's a ratification of the
Yeah.
RFP
Yeah.
going, it's not a ratification of the award.
but there are people already going out.
Yes.
RFP is gone out.
And then the board didn't, so that's why we have these discussions right now.
Right.
Because we can see prior to, people going out.
We caution the board. When an RFP goes out, and there are specs that a vendor must meet, and there are qualifying factors that are assigned points, the integrity of the process, of the procurement process must remain. You don't know who's gonna come out on top. You have your evaluators, and they evaluate based upon the specifications as outlined. And I witnessed that process where all paratransit scheduler, department director, supervisor, COO, procurement, IT, in this room sat around this table and went through those specs with a fine tooth comb. Before I left the meeting, I asked each, is everyone good with the specification? Has everything been addressed that you need in order to enhance paratransit services? And each person said yes.
But I just don't believe that you can evaluate software without a live demo, because theoretically, all software works. It's the implementation of it to determine if it's applicable to your needs and desires. And if you didn't do live demos with these 5, then are you choosing based off of price, or you choosing based off of, like, how you choosing?
Well, price was a factor. In the recommended bidder, there was a demo. And they obviously, I did not sit in on it. They obviously demonstrated that they met the specification.
So. So there was a live demo with this vendor. And everyone, there was a consensus that this vendor would give us what we needed. And should we not accept this, it will set the process back 2 months. Am I stating that correctly? And we don't.
Yes,
And we don't want to set the process back.
if
Why
that's the
why
board's
don't we?
pleasure, if that's the board's pleasure, that's your option.
Yeah.
But we have been, staff has been pressed about this software, and it is a need. Paratransit is really suffering because they don't have the necessary tools. Now, that's what I am told. To schedule properly, to notify customers properly. And this was made a priority. It wasn't a budgeted item. It was presented to our funder, and they denied the request 2 years ago. But because of the recurring complaints and there appeared to be communication issues, it was made priority. And that's why there's always a contingency, because sometimes you have to do things that are not budgeted. So it's really up to the board what they would like to do.
I want to address why Director I don't want it to be set back 2 months. The Director Odell is because it was set as a priority and the process has been gone through. And they did do the live video. The people that are to work it are satisfied with what will be done. So I believe that it would not be in our best interest to set it back 2 months based on people who did not see the need to do a live demo.
But nobody on the evaluation process did the demo. No, nobody that
we chose did the demo.
he said they did not. They did not.
What was that?
The evaluators.
They what?
The principal that selected this company, were they on that a demo? And I said, no, they weren't.
I still believe that because this is of great importance, our paratransit arm of this authority is important. So in my opinion, to set it back 2 months after they have gone through a vetting process, whether that process included what we feel like should have been a part of it with everyone or not, to set it back 2 months after they've gone through the vetting process, I think would be not good.
It's better to set it back and get it right than to move it forward and get it wrong.
I just have a question.
I don't think moving it forward will get it wrong because we have just heard the vetting process that it went through. It's not that somebody sat down and decided, oh, this is a good company, they're not gonna pay it. There was a vetting process, and the vetting process to me sounds like it was thorough.
To me, it sounds
And
flawed.
agreed upon by everyone.
Listen, I just have one question, and I'll clear our stuff up. The company that y'all chose, does it have the same capability of the company that I brought to you and Ms. Carter's attention? That's all I want to know, because if it doesn't,
Yes, it makes sense.
let me finish, because what's going to happen is we vote yes, and next year we'll be in the same predicament if it does not have the capabilities of the paratransit system in West Palm Beach, not the one we feel good about, but the same system in West Palm Beach, because that is the latest technology.
Mr. Chair, may I, because this is a contractual concern, but I'll yield to Director Stover, but I have to pose this to legal, because there are factors that will need to be discussed in, I believe, executive session as it relates to this review.
Because of that.
I just wanted to point out that in our, what we're looking at, our scope of services, under, on the page number, but under 4, key features and capabilities, because we're concerned about whether or not it will meet what we need. On the. Well, we look at 54,
Okay.
53, 5.3, 5.3, okay. Under 4, where it says key features and capabilities, around the 8th bullet, it says multiple ways to automatically communicate directly with customers for pickups via phone calls, text messages, or other means determined by customer preferences. I think that answers what we want. I mean, these key features and capabilities here answer what we want the technology to be able to do.
Key features and capabilities is not implementation. When you implement something, how it functions and flows does not mean it functions and flows the way you want it to, because, I mean, QuickBooks and Oracle do the same thing, but Oracle is light years away from QuickBooks.
I don't know about Oracle.
We had the human manager on the phone.
On the phone.
With a question.
Is he in the building?
No, he's not. He's not in the building, no, he's not.
But he did ask what,
About, the demos and all of that, because he led that along with the CEO and staff.
Presumably. Can you hear?
Yeah,
Questions with. Somebody had a question for us?
I had a question why we didn't live demo why we didn't request live demos from each of the submitters.
Can you hear?
yeah,
Did you hear the question?
yeah.
Who's the person?
Victor Colon. Victor, did you hear Director Odell's question?
We did request the demos from it was optional on the previous meetings. And we got presentations from HBSS, RightCo, Fritz Park, and BIA.
And who?
I think he's asking a question about the quote from, so he's answering the one about the live demo.
The evaluation team didn't do a live demo. We didn't
No.
do a live demo except on 2. How do you evaluate software without a live demo?
The evaluation team didn't see it. IT was participating, Ms. Kim Wanda was participating to ensure that the items that were asked for were included. One of them did not participate on the live demo.
I don't understand.
there's an explanation, Director Odell, but I think that explanation would have to occur in, exec session because it will be a violation.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we go to the executive session?
I think, if I may, I think one of the questions on the table is more about the missing part of bring to the board initially. That's the main issue. The applications and the RFP have already gone out.
Yes.
And the, but then the selection process,
Seems flawed.
that part seems flawed.
If the board give the opportunity to understand why things were done the way they were done. Now, nothing circumvents the action item coming before the board. It is what it is. The board has an opportunity if they want to delay and we reissue the RFP, we can definitely do that. But I think that the board needs to understand what happened with this procurement process. And there are certain procurement violations. People go to jail, prison. And that is just something that I cannot stand by. So we had to ensure that this procurement was indeed compliant, not only with FTA regs, but with CAT's procurement policy.
And if I may, that is my exact concern. I mean, that's the only concern I have. So if it needs to go to executive session, I think we've got to get to the bottom of it and fully understand it, and then we move on. We either vote it down, we vote it up, and we move on. And we deal with the consequences either way. But, I mean,
So do we want to take, somebody want to table this?
to the end of the meeting,
You got to table, you got, you know, if you're not gonna-
but not to another day. Okay.
I wrote it down.
We're going to a meeting session right now.
you can vote it up or down. But again, you make it clear, this is the wishes of the board. What is it this board wants to see? Do we table it and have a discussion, or do we vote it up or down? Yeah, that's what's important.
I say, pull it up down. It's already, we already put it close.
I must state for the record, however, that I need to clear the issues with the procurement for the record.
On the record or during executive session.
In executive.
Let's take it and go to the executive session. We'll come back to it.
I think we kind of need to hear from legal as well.
Well, he said, he heard what I said.
We need to hear from them.
For consideration and give you
Amendment.
amendment, table item until even, I mean, until we come out of the.
Yes.
Are you doing,
Yes, I'll do a friendly amendment to table it until we get out of executive session.
Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Noah,
yes,
Director Odell,
Yes,
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Dr. Buford. Yes. Director Dr. Robinson,
Yes.
Director Logan. Not for the vote, Director Taylor.
Yes.
And Chairman Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes.
Yeah, with,
4.5.
5.4. But for.
There's some related action from.
I move that we table until we recess from executive session. Is that
$5.4, I guess.
Right.
They go together.
Yes.
You want a second? There's a motion on the floor. Yeah, I made a motion that we table this until we recess from executive session.
I'll second.
Roll call. Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Noah,
Yes,
Director Odell,
Yes,
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Dr. Weaver, Director Dr. Robinson. Yes. Director Leggett, present for the vote, Director Taylor.
Yeah.
And Chairman Cook.
Yes. We'll be doing a 5.5, 4.5.
Yeah, and we make more sense. Yes, and the reason, just for the record, the reason why I asked to pull 4.5, because it was a presentation. And I want the information to be on record as to the changes that will be made in order to satisfy the request from Director Robinson. So what I would like to have the planning director repeat exactly the modification that we're proposing to the proposed changes for the record.
So for the Route 11, that the outbound service will be relocated to Arlington, but they won't have to cross the street. Inbound service will remain on Taylor, and the bus will deviate and remain in the same locations, and then the inbound service, so again, the residents will not have to cross the street.
And I'll make a vote to approve this with those changes. To accept 4.5 with the changes.
And I will bring the new pattern and have that to the little. Yeah, Director Noah. Now present for the vote, Director Odell,
yes,
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Weaver, Director Dr. Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett. Now present for the vote, Director Taylor
Yeah.
and Chairman Combs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chairman motion passed to approve item 4.5 under consent as individual item.
You want to go to executive session? Or after, the regular report? Yeah. So.
very.
176, turn it over to our CEO.
Okay, I just wanted to highlight for the board some safety enhancements that had been made. In the month of March, we hired a new safety administrative clerk. We also have a new safety coordinator on board. And this is a major enhancement to CAT because it ensures compliance with not only FDA regs, but also OSHA regs. And that's just very critical. It also ensures compliance with City of Savannah regulations for separations of stormwater and oil and things of that nature. The RFP for security services, we are to provide better quality security services, incidents that our staff has experienced over the last year. It shows that CAT needs a higher level of security.
as it relates to what we currently get with an in-house program. We wanted to try in-house program before we made another determination to go out to see if that would be more effective. The results is that it is not more effective than an outside resource. We've already performed a comprehensive site safety inspection, and we have several areas needing improvement. We are partnering, particularly safety in the maintenance department, to bring CAT up to compliance with FTA and OSHA regulations. We are in the process of securing safety vests for all employees to for increased visibilities in areas with moving vehicles or low light areas. Our safety manager continues to meet with SEMA to remain abreast of any changes in emergency operations, procedures, and or updates to the plan.
Can I ask you a question about the justification for wanting to go outside of safety? Is it, we never been able to fully staff our own safety department? Well, is it more manpower that's needed, or?
Just the what's needed for safety, you know, certified officers, just a higher level than what we have required in the past.
Because, you know, we've done this before, we've gone back and forth, and my concern is if you train our own appropriately, I think we use the control of the people you hire versus outside service. So I just don't think that, I think we need to stick with what we've got and decide what we need to do to train our own people, or get enough people hired, but that means increasing the pay or whatever we need to do. Because I don't see how an outside service is cost effective. I would like to see the number of people decide to go there, or the really like to see the number. I think training your own staff is what we should be doing.
Well, you know, we have to look at it like this: the risk associated with internal employees in comparison to the risk that an outside employer will pick up. It's better for the financial health of Chatham Area Transit. All of the incidents are taken into consideration with insurance. Not only that, the risk of our employees being injured, you know, it's a totally different world. We brought before the board a request to issue an RFP, and the board approved it. And we are in the process of developing good, strong specs so that we can ensure the safety of our employees and of the public. The results of the RFP will come back before the board, and the board will make the decision whether to award to the recommended vendor or bring back another decision, another alternative at that.
So the liability is the same, whether it's on or you know, somebody.
Well, it won't be on us.
But the liability is
Absolutely. Yeah, our insurance is really through the roof.
I contacted that with that law insurance.
Yes, because it takes the risk off of us and put it on them. And not only that, you know, the staff,
and I don't know if the board keeps up with this, but you've had internal issues with staff attacking the public. All kinds of issues that really we should not have to deal with.
That we got contract guys would be more
All of that
experienced.
risk, a higher level
provide
of
safety.
security. The risk is transferred from that to the contractor.
I have a problem.
All the risk.
That's my
Not
question.
all-
I have a
not-
hard
not-
time saying that we're using these words that I want to make sure we're clear. We still have risk.
Yes.
And we've got to decide, do we want to pay for increased risk or do we want to pay internal or pay for, so we've got to weigh that out.
Yeah,
But just by hiring somebody doesn't mean all your troubles go away.
because we
and-
still own the people we hire,
Right.
their
So-
behavior.
But
I
our
just wanna be very
contractual,
clear.
our contractual agreement will define levels of what they are responsible for. And you're absolutely right. We as a public authority, we always have risk.
Correct. And I think maybe this is where legal would be able to help, in my opinion, define the level of risk by, I mean, does it greatly decrease our exposure? If it does, then we have to put a value on that. If it just puts another level of exposure, another level of protection, we have to put a value on that.
Well, the RFP has already been approved by the board. Once the proposals come in, the board will have an opportunity to take a look at each of the proposals. We will also bring back the specifications that will be a part of the RFP for board information as well, for transparency purposes.
When we,
Okay.
Yes, I am.
For thousand purposes, can you show my slides, the last two slides? I just allowed it for the board to minister to. I don't know what to do. No, I think I don't need any introduction that I will, Dr. Manning, Chief of State Officer, Family. Due to time constraint, I'm just gonna share with the board. I'm just gonna share with the board an update of my department. So, for the first time since I've been here, the training department and the safety department with a joint venture came here around 4 a.m. to see how prep trips are done. Now, the prep trip part of our business is very, very important. And I'll give you right as an example is, if a driver takes a bus out and asks him to deploy the ramp, to see if the ramp works or not. Gets to a bus stop, there's somebody on the chair, or a wheelchair. And now we can say, I can't pick you up, so my ramp is not working. That's why it's part of the prep trip. And this joint venture that was conducted proved that we failed on our system. Almost 50% of the drivers didn't do the system as required. The correction condition that I put in place I have the director of that department to come in twice every month, unannounced, show up, and make sure there's a tendency that drivers know that Dr. Manny has to do that work and require to do that with credit. We come in unannounced and we know that someone will come in at any time check. So that is the what I'm gonna have the director of the department twice every month to show up unannounced and make sure that the bridge is done. So, it was a good task because we found out that a lot of loopholes. We're driving through all four, I could mention some things that when they leave, they fall out and the BCC will find them in the system by the log things. So that was an improvement. What they were not doing was they were not taking the wheelchair run, which is part of the population of run, that's before the bicycle goes out. And so when they did that unannounced, we found out that almost 50% of the drivers are not doing that.
That has always been our standard, to preachers.
It's part of the future. We also deploy the run,
Right.
to make sure the run works. You don't have to get to a bus stop and then someone want to check to find out that the run is doing.
So every bus that we own have a different pre-trip.
No, they have standard feature. Part of their feature is to also deploy the run.
So on the bus, so the buses have a pre-trip, prepare transit.
Yeah, all of them, yes.
So all of them have
Yes.
different, they have different apparatus.
Yes, that's correct. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
So, yeah, so that went very well. Like I said, I have, realized the situation. And I just wanted the board to know, in case you guys hear somewhere, including something different like that, you'll see what we showed for. The correct action of that is the department director, official is gonna show up and announce, and make sure that everybody is doing it. The next one, my bullet point, the third, this is something good. I'm so proud to share with you because you are much concerned about the cloud processing. I mean, sorry, the call center. I put it on our software and all that stuff. So we actually did something incredible. Just 2 days ago, we invited this company and Rex Steven to do a presentation which I was part of it. I was very impressed.
Very impressive.
Yes, very, very impressed. Or the what I call the airline style of customer service when you can call in, they direct you to the right department and get to the sort of video on the hold for more than 60 seconds, which I think we had. So this company did a very presentation. All end users were part of that presentation. We did ask questions, all the call center manager, staff were all part of it. And at the end of the day, there was a good Q&A to know what people do for us. And I went to Ms. Carter, Rome and Joy and Suicide. This was a good presentation. But the IT manager, I was very impressed.
So in the initial meetings, when you start to design your infrastructure and your call trees and flows?
Yeah, so what they did is, you remember I presented to the board about what I call call center transformation plan?
Yes.
Yes. So the manager sent that plan to this vendor before the meeting. So they know what we want. I was just doubting and they helped us out.
Okay.
And that's against how the order questions to ask. Yeah, I'll be very happy with them coming on board.
They will assign you a designer
Yes.
that will work specifically with your setup
Yes, there was
and do your call structure, your trees, your flow plan, your backup plan, your holiday plan. It'll design all of that and put it in place prior to launching the system.
Yes. There was an engineer on board that introduced himself as that's what you.
No, so we'll do, when we do an RFP for this, or we'll put in the 2026 budget, or how did that happen moving forward?
We did a RFP, didn't we?
No, we did not, and it's inappropriate to discuss one particular vendor
Yeah,
prior to the RFP process. That is a violation of procurement.
We did the RFP.
also too. That's about.
Well, I have a question to get us out of that conversation if possible. The call center, you're speaking about the call center, the, on your sheet that says data report, the target, 60 seconds, is that
So
to reduce the wait time or the
that's the
volume?
wait time. So the KPI for the wait time.
Okay,
Which is was steady down by AT&T sometimes.
Right.
We will not have a customer wait more than 60 seconds, each one minute.
okay, so my question there is, until we get whatever process we need in place, is there a need to hire more people to handle and reduce that call time? Or,
So this KPI was based on full staff. That 1 minute, 60 seconds was assuming like we have full staff. That's how the KPI was designed.
and
So
what,
imagine if you just staff, then it's gonna be more than.
okay, well, that brings me to my next question. It said 18 vacancies. Is that on the fixed route or for the call center? On the, I said, it says fixed route.
Oh, that's a fixed one.
Okay,
The call center was short of 4 applicants.
okay. And the last question I have concerning your report, we see month over month and then we see the target for the month. Is there a way to get a, last year, same month, just so we can see that we're, I mean, month to month is good, but it'd be really good, I think, to see where we came in a year. Because I look at a big picture many times more than a small picture.
So I
So-
can have that on my next report to
Please.
compare.
Thank you,
Fiscal year to fiscal year and do a month.
thank you. Thank you for your report.
But the call center, I think that if, again, my question was about, if this is a non-budget item, regardless of who the vendor is. There's a process, right, Ms. Curry?
Yes, it is.
But wait a minute, when
So-
we went through the IT budget thing, Infinity came here and told us that that was the provider. They did a whole presentation.
Okay, but don't you still have to, you don't have to do an RFP if that's the case?
Well, why did they present it if it hadn't been done yet?
I don't know, let me double check. I think it's a part of the, Xfinity project. I'm not sure. I think that's what.
A point of order, if I could, I think we might be, and
Yes.
I will yield to the legal. Are we going down a path that we need to stay away from, and can we discuss this?
It's certainly
another
far
meeting.
field from the
Report.
update from the
Thank you.
report.
Well, it was only because,
It's
Paul,
listed.
I understand,
I
but
think it was part of the award that we give,
Infinity.
No, you can't think.
Oh, I was saying this,
Cannot, you cannot think because there was discussions with IT about the spring, but whether or not it was included in that amount, I don't think so. This is something we talked about, for the FY 26 budget.
I will double check with IT manager and I will send that to the board. If it was connected with the Xfinity award, that is what it is.
And that's not in the bid, so it would have to go.
I was so excited to share that with the board, but. I missed it. And the last thing, we talk about the vehicle donation, and when I go to my next slide. So, as you all can recall, we have prayed for transit vehicles that the board approved, and out of the three, only one person showed up to pick the vehicle. And, we just want to know that's not big, that was fine, but, yeah. And I just quote article that he wrote, and that was, if you can read that, it was touching, it was very emotional. Not only that, vehicle out, but what we're gonna do the vehicle for was very interesting. The picture is, I think zero, my assistant, Miss Brooklyn. And the lady behind that, was back in with the group, right? The lady behind, and that picture.
Yeah.
So,
With the driver.
okay. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for this. I really appreciate you guys vetting the applicants, because I didn't want us to, wind up in a bad situation if we, awarded somebody a bus and he wasn't, qualified. So I appreciate you guys, doing that.
I would thank you also for so my last page is to say, we say thank you for listening to me. Maybe this classroom, you can update about my partner. Any questions? So, thank you.
I got a question. Sure. So, what do you think the overall condition of the call center is right now?
Right now, we cannot sustain staff, and that's my concern. People come in without, people come in 2 weeks to lose the work. Also, technology is an issue. The phone system, call waiting, the whole thing has to be upgraded to what a normal call center should be.
So at the present time now, right now, today, the call center,
Yes, sir. That was,
excuse me,
yes, sir. The answer is yes.
as of today,
As of today. As of yesterday, 3 p.m.
and I didn't get it.
Just 3 p.m.
Got fixed yesterday,
Yes, at 3 p.m.
and before yesterday, how long that is?
Well, it was, one of the units was not working right, we had other parts. And it's trained, which is what we contracted it. It took them a long time to get, the parts come in. Once the part came in, the next day it was fixed.
Let me ask a question. If the lights had gone out, what would you have done with it?
Probably back up to murder. I was saying, well, in this case,
Okay,
Good answer.
let me rephrase that. If there was no electricity, what would you have done?
we'll send them home like we did in this condition.
Okay, so if there not being no AC for like a month,
Nothing to it,
and I know hindsight is 20/20.
It was over 2 weeks, no more than 2 weeks.
Why weren't they sent home?
They were sent home. So let me just, I don't know what you're hearing, but let me just share the fact with the board. When the program was notified, Tia Baker, who is the manager at the call center, communicated, I went in there with the provider staff with parents. The whole issue blew up when the temperature went high. On that Friday, when he see them to hospital something, I sent them all home. I talked to the union president about my action, that I'm looking for Tia on Monday. As a matter of fact, my email shows that the company is working, will be working on the air conditioner Monday. And I give a time that by end of business day Monday, that will be fixed.
The reason why I brought that up is because we have to do a better job. We only have two commodities in this organization. People, we have to take care of both of them. We can't take care of people. If they're working in a sweatshop, sweating like a coat ball in a barbecue. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. I mean, if you want to know how hot it was in that building, go outside for about 10 minutes. Come over at 1 o'clock, because that's when I visited the place. Last month, for the board meeting. Last week, I just want to see if the AC was working. Go outside with a fan. Fan yourself from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock. That's how they felt for any building. And you want them to answer the phone and be cordial and be professional. How was that?
Well, Director, just for the record, staff was sent home. When it came to a point, now you have to also understand that when the part went off, there's nothing they can do instantly than just send them home. Some of the applicants don't even have laptop to work from home. The manager and assistant have access to a laptop. They were instructed, the email was sent out, which kind of copy on it. And they did exactly that. They work from home at Friday.
The 2 days I went down there, they were in the building. For Galaxy fans. I know how Galaxy fans work. I wasn't going with a silver spoon in my mouth. Whatever temperature is in that building, being that it's built, you know, the ventilation is you know, not that great unless you have AC. Whatever the temperature is outside, you magnify it on the inside. With a galaxy track. Yeah, you have to do a better job. We're trying to figure out why people leave CAT, stuff like that. I mean, they want to work, but, you know, who wants to work in those conditions?
Well, you know, with our agenda, move forward.
Well, being that we're on the subject, this was one of the items. I just want to make sure that we have learned from this experience. We have a plan in place by next meeting that y'all can say, we have a plan in place and I trust you with that plan, but to take care of our people. That's all.
Sure. Thank you.
Next question.
Next question.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. This is my last one. Okay. It was brought to my attention by a couple of employees that they had a problem with their pay. Working overtime and not getting paid for overtime.
That's not appropriate in here.
And then the probably makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that. You cannot be successful in no organization. We had two jobs. Get the job done, take care of the people. Take care of the people, the job will get done at a high level. At a high level, not, you know, not mediocre. I'm just saying.
Yeah, whatever you're hearing, I will have one-on-one, probably and explain to the facts.
We just need to circle the wagon because, you know, there's so many other opportunities out there for people to work other than Chattanooga training. And if we don't do a better job, that's where they're gonna be.
All right, we're gonna
Move on.
thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Man. We, thank you for your input, already did. We will be moving to communication with Ms. Aria Johnson.
We moving to Mary. Mary's next.
Go ahead.
So
I'll
there
be read here, so as Ms. Thompson gets the, presentation of, as we discussed earlier, we're moving towards that goal of the TDP of restoring the 30-minute service on the key corridors, Abercorn, Martin Luther King, Augusta, Waters Avenue, in July, we're now, Gateway has 45 minutes, so we're getting that too, and then East Anna, and, that is the next, well, we will have reach that goal of having 35 minutes on all of the corridors. That is last month's presentation, but the February is that what I put into the exercise. So the correct presentation is in your book.
Right, March 25. Yeah, we got March.
March 25. The values, I will say the numbers have gone down in March. The two numbers, if you look in your agenda packages, I will point out on the Point Wentworth that you saw a pretty significant increase. That route had just begun service in March of 2024, so it was only a half month. But we have seen as that service has grown, we will continue to see growth in that, but not 100% growth every month. And I will also note, indicated on round 11, which is about 33, that is now running that small vehicle that doesn't have the counters on it, so we're relying on the annual count. And so that value is a little skewed, so that's why you're seeing that significant decrease in counters. But hopefully, as we get the new manufacturers on board and our new counters on board, those values will even out there. We are seeing a slight decrease in ridership as well. Some of that may have to do with gasoline prices, as gasoline prices have been less than they were last year. People tend to use transit less. So again, we saw significant growth in ridership, last year. And I mentioned before, I think we're starting to see that plateau, and we won't see a big growth as we saw last year.
Mayor, can I ask you one quick question? When I see these asterisks, I'm looking for a recommendation. Is that like you got on third, three, you got?
Okay, yeah, okay, yes, I see that, yeah, so the 3B, it only, and they have the combined route on Sunday with the 3, so the Sunday numbers are reflected in the fee. So that's why you see that kind of year-over-year decrease. And the camera, I apologize for that, it was, running the smaller background. So I will make sure that those footnotes are put into the report, yeah, thank you for that. So, if you want to go, Ariel, to the very end, year-over-year comparison, I think, kind of. So again, you see the, orange line is the 2023 numbers, the green line was last year 2024, and the blue line is the 2025. We are seeing, if we compare 2023 to 2024, you see that there's significant growth. We're starting to get back to those 2023 numbers, but it will kind of start evening out and having more consistency as we finally implement that against the development.
Now, how many buses are you running on 31? 2 or 3?
There's 3 buses on 31 right now.
It's very effective.
Yes, that has really helped. You see a really big increase in ridership. Now, what we're trying to achieve on that bus now is to get a 30-minute headway. And I think, when you have higher frequency, that also leads to higher ridership. So, we're hoping once we can figure that out, that will also really bring that out even better than it is now. But we were able to get that 45 minutes from there, and that has been very helpful.
And I don't know who put the drivers, but they're very good. They're very close on 31.
I'll pass that along. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you all. I appreciate that. Chairman, I'm going to do very quickly. So as you know, March, we participated in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We thanked our board of directors who joined us, 18 local 1324, and our staff. Some things we did differently, other than our rider guides, local news coverage, we had actual wayfinding signs at our shuttle so that the public could see where we were at the shuttle locations to make it better known that CAT was there. I believe I heard from the staff who was there that it really helped a lot to get the crowd moving into the shuttle location. Next slide. Bus stop dedication ceremony. Last month we also honored former Vice Chair Helen Stone on March 7th at the Aquaponics Club Oaks. We also thank the public and the board for joining us at this event. Next slide. Something new that we have started is a monthly communication update of what the CAT board is doing along with staff at these board meetings, basically, and giving an update of what you guys approve and just recognizing the hard work that the staff has done to make these possible as well. And then our last slide. Matthew Williams has departed Chattanooga Transit Authority. For a newer beginning, we just want to publicly just thank him for all that he has contributed to CAT, and we look forward to much of the success. What's next in May, Savannah Bell's 30 celebration, budget request, and then of course employee recruitment for my. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our financial update for the month of March is as follows. Our year-to-date collectible revenues, budget. March revenues for the month, 1.9 million. Expenses, 2.2, for a net of 272,000. Our year-to-date actual, 26,530,000 is under budget, 27,804. Our expenses year to date, 20,010,000. Year to date budget, 25,874,000. For a variance of 5,863,000. Our net year to date, 6,531,000. Next slide, please. Our revenue by categories really has not changed that much for the month of March. Our highest revenue category, paratransit 33%, grant 28%, special district 13%, contract revenue 17%, and our remaining two categories of campus affairs and other is less than 10%. Expenses by category, next slide. Expenses by category. Our highest categories for expenses are salaries and wages, 45%, insurance, 14%, employee benefits, 42%. Our remaining categories less than 10%, which includes repairs, maintenance and supplies, fuel, 5%, utilities, 1%, service, 4%, other, 2%. Next slide, please. We can look at our account types, account balances by type. Our operating balance as of March 31st, 17,298,000 for the operating account. Our grant account, 3,535,000, and our Georgia Fund 1 investment account, 9,186,000. Next slide, please. Our beginning balance for our Georgia Fund 1 account as of March 1st, the beginning balance is 9,152,000. Interest earned for the month, 33,961,000, giving us our ending balance, 9,186,000. Next slide. Our collections during the month of March for transit tax receipts, 262,000. Once again, the month of March is one of our lower months in the year. As we have discussed before, our higher months are May, June, November, and December for receiving transit tax payments. Next slide, please. Cash receipts. These are our funding sources that we receive funds during the month of March. Hamilton County Special District taxes, 262,000. Paratransit fund, 649,000. City of Savannah, POR fees for maroon services, 43,000. FTA grant, 563,000. And City of Savannah, DOT shuttle, 207,000. Next slide. Our projected, our ending cash balance as of March 31st, 17,361,000. And our projected balance for June 30th, 2025, 22,285,000. Are there any questions? Thank you so much.
You know, 5 minutes,
You gotta first remember the agenda.
No, what is it? I'm asking what are the purpose, personnel?
Andrew,
Sorry. No, I'm looking at the code with this
Oh.
question.
what's the purpose of the executive session?
It's to receive legal advice, under the attorney-client privilege under OCGA 50-14-2 subsection 1.
Thank you.
motion in second.
Motion.
Second.
That was the full process.
And this is the motion to go together. Ms. Snowden? Yeah. Director Noel?
Yes.
Director Odell?
Yes.
Director Ross?
Yes.
Director, Dr. Hooper, not present for the vote. Director Dr. Robinson?
Yes.
Director Levy?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yeah.
And Chairman Bush?
Yes.
Chairman motion passed, we are going to go to the agenda.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to take a look at the executive session.
I make the motion to enter the executive session.
Second.
The purpose of the executive session is to receive legal advice from our attorney regarding procurement issues.
No, I don't know, I didn't hear a second. I can second, I know
And it's, let me just clarify, it's for that one item only? Will be not,
And then he gets to ask his question from earlier at new business or in the executive session?
well, that's when you question, that's when the questions come up, you, a motion, we haven't started the vote yet.
Yes, I voted, you called my name and I voted. Yes, that's why they're in the middle of the vote.
Okay,
Director Snowden?
Yeah.
Director Noel?
no,
Director Odell?
Which motion are you on?
to discuss one item.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Director Dr. Hooper, not present for the vote. Director Dr. Robinson?
A little bit.
Because there was another item on the agenda
When do we get to 8?
that we were going to go to new business. So, well,
Do we do 8 before the executive session or after?
They will be trying to figure out whether or not we want to add the question into executive session or continue with the one item.
I don't think he can ask his question in executive session.
it's actually open.
I think it's gotta be open, so I think we gotta do it at 8. And so we just finished 6.4. And 7, 1, and 2 are in our notebooks. Okay, but is that before 8 or after? And then we go to 8. Okay. Okay.
We may have to get back to this.
Okay.
Director Dr. Robinson?
Yes,
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yeah.
And Chairman
Thank you. 5 minutes.
Well, I can't, because we're only discussing one item. That's why I voted no.
No, I don't.
No, that's his, you're not.
No, he has a legal question.
Remember, it's,
No, not fine, because we got to complete or what we do because.
which one was that? Which one was
Right.
the question I had? Are we recessed right now? What are we doing?
We're recessed right now.
Make sure your mic's up.
Well, I looked at the tournament.
So that's not all of it. Okay. But that it's just, and I guess I don't know enough about what it is, you know. State, but we've already voted to,
We can amend it.
No, we have two questions. One is a legal question. One is the other question that we're gonna go into. Like he was saying, when you just one item. Well, that's the motion we made for the 30% with one item. Discuss the one item which was. We did.
I never turn mine off. I need everybody to hear how I think, feel, and all of that.
You got some more?
No, it's just me here, we're not talking though.
No.
Actually, executive session.
No.
Okay.
But when are you going to turn the lights on?
When Miss Bethany puts on another room. She usually puts on another room. Yeah. Then open.
right, I think we're gonna have to.
We're going to a different.
We're going to.
No, not different room, Zoom. Well, we shut off the general public.
So it's an executive session that we're about to start, so. Yeah, I understand, but you may come and ask me a question or something, so hang around, but, I don't think we're last meeting.
We can be in there.
Yes.
No, okay. I'll be, we can go ahead and go, tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing?
She, is doing okay. Yeah, she's good. She's doing good, she's in midterm. She lives in her best.
You may not get a phone call.
She lives in her best life. I talked to her on FaceTime this morning. She's doing her thing.
Sure done.
She gonna be there in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, you look. Wax red.
That's cool out there.
But that's what she's gonna be, she's gonna be over.
There's a lot.
Yes, sir.
I need some tea. Oh, excuse me.
Well, it looks like it's doing. You go back there. Beyond that. Fit in this food. Let's move this as fast as we can, fellas.
What about now?
They got food.
Oh, we eat now?
That's the
That sounds good, son. I'm in the head.